Greatness. What exactly is greatness? I made a video recently about greatness, and I want to talk about that. But why am I wearing a tuxedo? Well, here's why. I had one of the hardest keynotes of my life a couple days ago. I was asked to speak at a foundation for parents who have lost a kid suddenly. It's called the Brandon Tolson Foundation. And founded, Brandon was 20 when he was killed in a car accident on his way to work. And his mother, gets a knock at the door, two police officers, and she said she knew immediately. Candy said she knew immediately, just didn't know which one of her sons, because Brandon was 20, and Brandon's younger brother, Colin, I think was 17 at the time. But she knew, and it was Brandon. Well, they had this black tie gala for the foundation on Friday night. And I was invited to be the keynote speaker, and they do work with families all over the country who have lost a kid suddenly to help them with everything, because the parents, and it's hard to even imagine, but they're in a fog. They're in a fog. They meet with the funeral parlor, and there are all these questions, and you're thinking like, I don't even know how to sit here, let alone decide on that. So this foundation helps with all those things. And Friday would have been Brandon's 27th birthday. They said it's Brandon's 27th birthday in heaven. And Brandon had an expression he loved to say quite often, and actually their song by the same name was one of his favorites, and they played it at the funeral. It's don't waste your life. Don't waste your life. So a tuxedo to talk to you about greatness. I go to pick up the tuxedo, and we had some bad weather, and as a result, there were a couple complications, and I needed something rushed from somewhere else. And I go to the tuxedo shop, and someone there helping me said, "So what's the event?" And I said, "Well, it's," and I was really quiet because I was really spending a lot of time reflecting and praying about this talk. And the person at the shop helping me out said, "What's the event?" And I said, "Well, I'm a speaker. I'm an author, and I'm a speaker." And he looked at me and said, "Oh, you're kind of quiet to be a speaker." And I thought, well, yeah. I said, "This is a different event." He said, "What's the event?" I said, "I'm speaking at a black tie gala for a foundation that helps people who have lost a kid." And he looked at me, and you could tell he got it. His whole face was washed over. And he said, one of his family members had just lost a child a couple days ago. And he said, and today's the birthday for one of my kids. Really, really hard. We talked for a few more minutes, and then I left, and I'm on my way to Baltimore. I get to Baltimore, I'm having something to eat, and I look in my messages, and I have a message from this individual. And he says, "Jonathan, I Googled you." I thought, okay, great, uh-oh. He says, "I Googled you," and I said, I found a video you did on greatness, which is a video we made very recently. And talking about greatness. Greatness, this quote from Pope Benedict that said, the world promises you comfort, but you weren't made for comfort. You were made for greatness. And the video talks about greatness, but it talks about greatness in moments. And this individual that helped me so much when he didn't have to, and he was going through tough stuff. He says that word greatness is hard for me. He says, because I've long thought, like, where's the greatness in my life? And I think in our culture, we're thrown images of greatness. Tom Brady, well, not a great season. Are you kidding me? Right, he didn't win the Super Bowl this year, right? The Bills, not a great season. Right? Yeah, they didn't win the Super Bowl this year. We're thrown these images of that's greatness, and what you have going on is not. And this individual that helped me so much, he sends me this message, and he says, I struggle with this one. And I sat there thinking, and I'm thinking like, what is greatness really? What is greatness really? You know, I mean, John Wooden redefined success. Coach John Wooden, because he knew that so many people, he said when he was a teacher, an English teacher in high school, before he went on to coach UCLA basketball, he said he would get all these parents that would say, my kid should have gotten an A. And he would say, well, some kids, like their best is a C. Their best is finally understanding what that paragraph meant. Their best is not necessarily quoting hundreds of lines from Shakespeare. Their best might not be what this class is, measuring. And he said greatness is really, he called it peace of mind that comes from a self-satisfaction, from knowing that you did your best with what you were given. You did the best of which you are capable. And I'm thinking all these things, and it's just washing over me as I'm reading this person's message a few times, and I thought, what do I say? What do I say? And I'm on my way to this gala. And I'm thinking about this gala, and one of the points, really the point I made in the gala, is that there's a ripple effect. There's a ripple effect. See, there's something we can do today that's worth doing. And there's a ripple effect to it, and we never get to see the ripple effect. Maybe we get to see a glimpse of the ripple effect. People call it the butterfly effect. It's this one little action that could have this effect that just and we only get to see maybe a glimpse. Maybe we see nothing of it. And I'm thinking all these things as I'm reading his message a few times, and then finally I started writing him back. And I wrote back, greatness is, well, I said, first, and I'm going to read it to you. I said, first, thanks so much for your message. I just arrived in Baltimore, and I'm so appreciative of the amazing work you did with such a quick turnaround. Greatness is such a strange word. I recently interviewed someone who worked for both Jack Welch and Mother Teresa, back to back. Welch had these grand visions, his definition of greatness, right? While Mother Teresa saw her job as doing small things with great love. Certainly seems that the world pushes on us a vision connected to fame and wealth and influence. How many followers, how many likes, how many views, how much money, the house, the car, the stuff, the titles. Mother Teresa's simple idea came from a quiet and petite woman in France, a woman that Mother Teresa never met. Years ago, for work, I was stuck in Europe over a long weekend, and I took the ferry to France, walked the beaches of Normandy on a Saturday, and visited the small town of Lisieux on Sunday. The petite woman named Therese lived there. She was never famous in her lifetime, although she seemed to struggle with thinking that should be her goal. Her journal survived. She died very young, this woman. She died very young and left a journal. She described something that she called the little way, essentially doing small things with great love. Mother Teresa took her name from this woman, Therese, Teresa. But Mother Teresa borrowed so much more than just a name. The ripple effect. The butterfly flapping its wings, tiny actions that move something, that moves something, that moves something. Greatness in tiny ways, small things with great love. That's exactly what you did, telling this person that helped me in the tuxedo shop. That's exactly what you did when I stopped in on Wednesday. You could easily have said, this isn't really worth it. It's only one guy, one order, a rush, a headache with all this weather challenge going on. All for nothing. It's not worth it. You could easily have been impatient. I said, you did the exact opposite. You did a small thing with great love. That's greatness. That's greatness. I'm going to encourage you, I want to invite you, I want to challenge you to today create a great moment or two. As I'm writing this message, and I'm sorry, I don't want this to come across like, Jonathan, you did something good. I always try to be kind of like the sheepdog leader, if you will, who's dirty and loud and kind of noisy and mangled and on the fringes, and just kind of like pointing towards something better, something bigger, not pointing towards me. I'm not the... But the people that started this foundation, they inspired me to think about this. This individual who went above and beyond, who created greatness in a moment, inspired me. I'm pointing at them. I get up from writing this message and I'm thinking like, you're one to talk, Jonathan. You're one to talk. Almost immediately I was doing what he was doing. I was saying, yeah, greatness is Mother Teresa, and you're not her, buddy, which is absolutely true. But I thought, okay, but you could do something small with great love right now. You could let Mother Teresa, talking about a sheepdog, pointing at Mother Teresa. Good, pretty amazing role model. And I was in this food court on my trip, almost to where I was giving the keynote, and I'm just having a sandwich, and I looked next to me, and there are two older women having a conversation. It looked like they were having a great, deep conversation about stuff, and they were done eating, and their tray and their kind of wrappers and whatever were still there, and I thought, well, small thing, great love. Small thing, great love. Greatness is so often it's small things with great love. And you have no idea. It's not for the impact. It's not for the recognition. And I walked over to their table and I said, "Oh, excuse me. Can I take your? Are you finished? Can I take the garbage away for you?" And I think they immediately didn't even look at me. They thought I just worked there and said, "Oh yeah, sure, yeah." And they put stuff on the tray, and before they even looked, and then they looked up and they thought, "Oh, maybe wait, you don't have like the mall outfit on." Oh, thank you. It was like they realized that I was just, hey, helping out. And I carried their tray to the garbage, and and I did it because Brandy, and I carried their tray to the garbage. And see, I did it because of the person that helped me out. I did it because of Candy and John and their younger son, Colin Tolson. I did it because of John Wooden and Mother Teresa and this woman named Therese in Lisieux, France. Small things with great love. What's your definition of greatness?